What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Guys, this caught me a bit by surprise because honestly, I was not expecting this news only next week at some point. But it seems like Plarium decided to announce the new Fusion champion, guys. And to be honest, it seems pretty strong for the Hydra clan boss. Now, of course, it's all about the multipliers, but on paper, so far, it seems like a Hydra monster. So, let me just quickly read you what Plarium has to say. Next Monday, April 7th, they're planning to launch a mixed fusion event of a new champion, legendary champion of course, Lysanthir Beastbane. Now, the mixed fusions, guys, are the hardest. And whenever I'm saying this, a lot of you guys are asking, Skratch, why are you saying that? Because they don't seem harder. Basically, you're getting fragments for the epic champions from events. Usually, you don't really have many extra fragments. If you're missing an event, it's game over unless you're lucky enough to pull that epic champion from shards. Unlike a regular fusion where you can get an epic, get the rares, summon rares, which is definitely more common, right? So that's why it's much harder. It's all about making sure that you're not missing out on any of the events. So, this champion will be from the High Elves faction. It will be a defense-based champion, Spirit Affinity. But let me just quickly bring up the kit, guys, and the champion. I gotta say it, the design looks really cool. I like the design. Seems like they borrowed that lion from the Bannerlord's mythical champion, right? But other than that, it does seem pretty badass. I like the mask on the face, the helmet, the armor looks really cool. So, with the A1, Echo Bolt attacks one enemy twice. The first hit has a chance to place a Hex debuff on the target for 2 turns, and places an increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns. Now you need to bring 4 books to max this skill. With the A2, Wily Hunter, on a 5-turn cooldown, fully booked will go down to a 3-turn cooldown, and you're gonna get 20% extra damage from there. Attacks one enemy twice. Has a 20% chance of repeating the attack. When this champion counterattacks or teams up with allies to attack an enemy, will always use this skill instead of their default skill. The damage inflicted with this skill increases by 10% each time an ally is devoured, stacking up to 50%. So the more allies get devoured, the more damage he's gonna get to do with this skill. Now I'm very curious if him getting devoured counts for this, right? Because it doesn't specify like the champion must not be him or anything like that. So stacking up the damage to 50% can be really good. To be honest, on a crazy good team, you're usually not necessarily going to have your champions being devoured 5 times. So it's gonna be pretty hard to basically reach the max damage cap on this skill. You need 3 books in here, which brings it to a total of 7. With the A3, Rune Snares, this is on a 5-turn cooldown as well. Fully booked will go down to a 3-turn cooldown, and you're gonna get a 20% extra damage from here. Plus, it will go up to 100% chance to land the debuffs, and we're gonna require exactly 13 books for this champion. Pretty greedy. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a chance of placing a decreased speed debuff and a weakened debuff for 2 turns. If the target is under Hex debuff, places these debuffs before attacking. So, by the looks of it, it's not enough that he brings the Hex. You still need a different champion to bring in the Hex, or to have a champion on a curse set to ensure that you're gonna have Hex on most of the heads throughout the entire fight. With the passive, Survivalist Supreme will ignore life barrier and ally protection buffs. So the life barrier is actually something that is going to be pretty important because they will get that buff very often, right? So being able to ignore the life barrier is going to be massive. Now, do not confuse the life barrier with the serpent buff. The serpent buff is what they get when they spawn and you are not able to deal any damage. The life barrier is basically when the Head of Decay is putting that shield, that buff on the heads, right? So I know a lot of people struggle with this thing, and it used to be crazy difficult at the beginning when they released Hydra because it was a lot of RNG. Basically, You are not able to provoke the Head of Decay. He was placing that life barrier on a head that just devoured your champion, and then bang, you are not able to free your champion in time. So this will ignore that life barrier. Now, this will increase this champion's defense by 5% for each active buff on this champion, stacking up to 50. Which means that you do need to have those buffs up and running all the time. Which means, once again, that is going to be good to have a team where you have increasing the duration of buffs constantly. So you're keeping this champion under as many buffs as possible. Then, of course, he has a defense aura in all battles, 28%. As I've mentioned, the kit sounds pretty good. He can bring in a lot of damage, hopefully. It's all about the multipliers, so I can't really guarantee you that he's going to be insane. But on paper, he sounds pretty damn good for the Hydra clan boss. I like the A2, increasing the damage. I like that every ally attack and counter attack will use the A2 instead of the A1, which hopefully has much better multipliers. So it's all about basically checking the multipliers. The 20% chance of repeating the attack is really good as well. Very curious if that counts for counter attacks, for ally attacks. I'm not 1000% sure if that will activate or it needs to be only out of an active turn, right? But either way, the champion doesn't sound bad at all, okay? Now, does that mean that we all must jump in and do the fusion because, oh my god, we cannot miss out on it? Honestly, I don't think so. It really depends where your account is. How are you looking in terms of the Hydra clan boss? From my point of view, on my own account, even if I'm gonna get this champion, unless his damage is really crazy, most likely I'm not gonna end up in using him in any of my teams, right? Because I don't necessarily think that for the level of where my account is, a champion that will ignore life barrier is something interesting, something very crazy. And that's mainly because I have overpowered gear. My champions are fairly overpowered. They easily destroy the life barrier without having any issues whatsoever. But for a lot of you guys out there that are not in the same situation as me, this champion can actually make a massive difference on your accounts. But once again, on paper, sounds like a monster. We basically have to wait and see the multipliers. If the multipliers suck, then there's no point to do the fusion. So you're going to be able to decide if this champion is right for your account or not before the fusion starts. Because we're going to have access to this champion on the test server at some point. We're going to be able to test him before you guys jump in to start completing any of the events for the fusion. So that will give you plenty of time to basically decide if the champion will bring any value to your account or not, okay? So just to make it clear, no FOMO or anything like that. If it's good, you're gonna see it. That will help you decide. Now, as I've mentioned, for my account, I don't necessarily think that this champion will play an important role unless the damage is really kind of like blowing our minds. Now, he could potentially do a lot of damage. He's a defense-based. He is increasing his own defense up to 50%, which is nice. Usually, the champions that really do a lot of damage in most of this content, Chimera, Hydra, are the champions that are able to basically stack their own stats, right? And increase their stats from the passives or active skills. Like you have Ninja, you have Toshiro, you have Harima, etc. The list goes on. There are not that many champions, to be honest. But imagine pairing him with the Theox, for example, and always joining in the attack with the A2, and that 20% chance actually activating when he joins ally attacks on counter attacks. He could like literally bring in crazy good damage. His self buffs will increase crit damage. The ally protection that he ignores is coming from the Head of Suffering. If you don't have block buffs or if you're getting caught off guard by the Hydra, and that head will actually get to buff and put the ally protection on the Hydra heads, you're basically going to ignore this, which means that it won't reduce your damage. So it's pretty much, that's pretty much it basically, right? Now, Plarium is kind of like selling the champion as a Hydra specialist, right? As I've mentioned, he seems really good on paper, but we're gonna have to wait and see the damage. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you think that this champion could potentially actually help you in the Hydra clan boss. You think he's gonna be great for your teams, you think he might not be that interesting. Now, as I've mentioned, we have, or actually I haven't mentioned it, we've got tons and tons of different champions that work good in the Hydra clan boss. I feel like fusion-wise, we got so many champions in the last 1 year or so that are basically champions for the Hydra clan boss. Now, since they've changed the Hydra clan boss, and it's really tedious now to just do any of the runs on manual, trying to maximize your damage and all that crap, Tranda still being at the top. Personally, I'm not enjoying Hydra anymore at all, right? So whenever I'm doing Hydra on manual, is a burden, I don't enjoy it, and I have no fun doing it, okay? And this changed when they actually changed all of the mechanics. Before that, I actually used to have a blast doing Hydra, trying to push my damage, looking forward to get a new champion, looking forward to max my Great Hall, looking forward to basically get new blessings for the champions to go in Hydra and do this and that. I'm not there anymore. And most likely 99% of you guys are in the same situation. And we can't blame anyone but the people that actually completely changed the mechanics. Now, I know they said that probably they are looking to change some of the things that they've made wrong and make Hydra fun again. I'm not sure exactly what they're planning, when they're planning to do that, but either way, that's pretty much everything for the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As usual, appreciate all of you guys watching. And if you enjoyed the content, guys, do me a solid, smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and drop a comment. Help with that YouTube algorithm. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.